The kick's power comes from the torque generated by the rotation of the hips. It's the same principle that cracks a whip. Turning the hips just a few degrees forces the foot to travel a much greater distance and creates a lot of speed as it does. The longer the leg and quicker the rotation, the faster the kick. And unlike karate, Muay Thai fighters are also taught to strike with the hard bone of the shin. A Muay Thai kick can generate roughly the same force as a baseball bat. Enough to crack a rib.
It works like a point of a knife. All the force is magnified by being concentrated in a small, hard area. Even if the elbow doesn't deliver a knockout, it will almost always leave a nasty cut, and often getting in close neutralizes the opponent's weapon advantage. Then, in the clinch, we bring the power of the knee to bear. Unlike the kick, which relies on rotation to create power, the knee gets its power from leverage. Pulling our opponent down as we drive the knee up can deliver up to 2.5 tons of force, enough to lift a car. It's not the arms, but the legs that drive this. Like a piston, the explosive power of the legs is capable of generating hundreds of pounds of force, all to a very vulnerable area, the soft underside of the opponent's jaw. Like the Hanuman move, the flying knee relies on the explosive power of the legs. But rather than spread the power of our blow over two fists, it concentrates it into the spear point of the knee and combines it with the force of gravity. It's the equivalent of hitting our opponent in the chest with a sledgehammer.
Works on a concept called the couple. Basically, it's two levers linked at a single fulcrum, the elbow lock. And it doubles the foot-pounds of torque you can generate when compared to a single-arm lock. There's more than enough force to flip an opponent to the mat or dislocate his elbow.
Using the twisting motion of the torso to drive the strike, the business end of the hardwood fighting stick can quickly accelerate to more than 25 miles per hour. On contact with the skull, the energy is enough to cause a depressed fracture. It's the same injury-producing force as being hit in the temple by a hammer. Molly relies on something called a flexion moment imparted to the neck to do damage. An average man's neck can withstand about a 140 foot-pound flexion moment. Beyond that, soft tissue and even vertebrae can be crushed. By bringing your weight down fast, this move could easily deliver twice that amount of force. And it wouldn't just end a fight. It could leave your opponent paralyzed or dead.
Close, the opponent's neck is exposed. But because of the close range, the hand doesn't generate a huge amount of force. It's enough to stun, but probably not enough to cause severe injury. But replace the hand with a weapon, a stick or a knife, as you would in combat, and this could become a kill shot.
The kick's power comes from the snap of the knee. The snap is created when the quadricep, the largest muscle in the body, contracts and pulls the tendon connecting to the foot over the knee. Using the knee as a pulley, the strength of the quad is enough to accelerate your foot to speeds close to 30 miles per hour.
Because the area of impact is focused on a small part of the foot, it magnifies the force of the blow, making it capable of dropping 1,000 pounds of force on your head. It's like getting whacked in the head with a Louisville slugger.
It works by taking the opponent's blow at an angle, which deflects the energy of the blow away from the vulnerable torso. The harder you block, the further his blow will be deflected, and the more open he'll be to a counter strike.
Rotating your fist 180 degrees right before it strikes the intended target. The twisting snap of the arm maximizes the speed of the punch and magnifies the force of the blow by concentrating the impact on the first two knuckles of your hand. Done correctly, it can deliver as much energy as a bowling ball dropped from the top of a house, more than enough to cause soft tissue damage or break a rib.
Because it swings through such a wide arc, the wrist is moving at speeds of up to 43 miles per hour. And since the radius doesn't deflect or compress nearly as much as a fist, it can deliver a staggering blow, like being hit with an axe handle.
This roundhouse kick is designed for maximum impact. With the powerful muscles of the thigh yanking the tendon over the knee, the foot accelerates from 0 to 21 miles per hour in just 1/3 of a second. Combine that with the reinforced shoe, and this kick can drive the nose bone back up into the brain. It's aimed at the largest gland in the human body, the liver. A direct hit won't just bring an opponent down. It can rupture the gland, causing severe internal bleeding. But the liver is well protected by the rib cage. so the kick must be accurate to within half an inch. In this move, the forward propulsion of the hips, combined with the piston motion of the lower leg, can send well over 700 pounds of force directly through the rigid bone of the heel.
This impact won't just knock an opponent down. The force is enough to permanently damage his kneecap, leading with the near arm. The first jab travels the shortest distance to the opponent, so what it lacks in force, it makes up for in speed. The second punch, utilizing both the twist of the shoulders and the forward momentum of the kick, can carry over 4 times as much impact. And just a few hundred pounds of force to the temple is enough to cause a knockout.
This move uses the same principle as a throw in judo, off-balancing your opponent and then using his momentum to send him down. But it's much more aggressive. The sweep here is actually a strike to one of the most sensitive areas of the body, the Achilles tendon. The Achilles tendon.
The throw works just like a crowbar, where your leg is the lever and your hip is the fulcrum. The trick is positioning your body in just the right place. If you're just an inch off the placement of your thigh and hip, the amount of energy needed to throw an opponent can more than double. But performed correctly, Uchimata requires almost no energy, yet it can deliver up to 5,000 pounds of force. If it weren't for the mat, a throw like Uchimata would be enough to cause serious injury or even paralysis.
You use the strength of your legs to maintain your dominant position while you secure the choke. Just a few pounds of pressure on the collar of his gi is enough to reduce the blood flow to the brain to a trickle and end the match. Hold this move for 10 seconds and the fighter will black out. Hold it just a bit longer and he's dead.
By bending the elbow across the fulcrum of your hips, you're subjecting the weak joint to the leverage of 2 strong forces: the pull of your thighs on his shoulder and your hands on his wrists. As little as 1,000 pounds of force can be enough to destroy the elbow. The leverage of the armbar can supply much more than that. The sacrifice throw is a simple lesson in conservation of energy. The stronger the opponent attacks, the further he gets thrown. It works like a catapult, where your opponent's momentum supplies the counterweight. The faster he's going, the further he's going to fly. And the harder he's going to land. That land with the side, ball, or top of the foot. The gastrizin uses the heel to deliver the blow. This alignment of the heel, ankle, lower leg complex channels some 2,000 pounds of force into the opponent. More than enough to break a baseball bat.